Welcome once again to Clapback. I am your host, Kevy Kev, brought to you by Kingdom Keys and Healthy Living. We're here today to talk about Juneteenth. We want you to get in touch with us. Phone lines are open. Chat pod is open if you just want to chat with us and talk. Get into it. If you want some information on how to live better, you're concerned about your health, email me at healthylivingu9@gmail.com. That's healthylivingu9@gmail.com. If you'd like to support us in what we're doing, please do so at our Cash App. That is $Pastor K50, $Pastor K50, to support us in what we're doing. Got a great show. Got some people calling in today. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you share this. Make sure you like this. Make sure you make your comments. And we're going to talk about what's going on in the neighborhood. So let's get right into it. All right. Well, welcome once again to everyone to Clapback. We certainly thank you for listening to our program. Greg, are you there with us?
Yes, sir. I'm here, live and ready.
Right. All the way from Arizona. Hey,
yes,
Arizona.
Sir.
Before we get started, I did want to let everyone know about our weight loss challenge that we'll be doing. You want to be a part of this weight loss challenge. We have some great products to help you lose weight. Let me say on the offset, you got to change your eating habits. There's no magical potion or magical formula for weight loss. We have a weight loss program that help you. Maybe you have a bathing suit you haven't been able to get into, or a pair of jeans you've been saving, or a dress, that nice suit. We can help you do that. We have a 30-day challenge with a full money-back guarantee. Email us at healthylivingu9@gmail.com. That is healthylivingu9@gmail.com. Maybe you're thinking about starting a business and you want to be part of something that you can see a residual income, something you can see the effects of hard work. You know, there's only two types of workers that are in the world today. You have entrepreneurs and you have workers. Workers will never get ahead because your company tells you what you're worth. You don't get to tell them what you're worth. You don't get to make the money that you want. But with this organization, you have the ability, if you work it like a real business, because it is a real business. A lot of people get into multi-level marketing and they think that it's going to sit back and become a millionaire overnight. You have to work your business just like if you went out and opened up a Church's Chicken, a KFC, an automobile shop, whatever business you wanted to run. Steve Jobs, when he created Apple, Mark Zuckerberg, when he created Facebook, they spent countless hours, sometimes not even getting sleep. A good program to watch on HBO talks about Dr. Dre and his life, talks about all of the ups and downs he had, and even talked about the deal with Apple, a $3 billion deal that he was able to cut with Apple, but that didn't come through sitting on his laurels. There was a lot of work. So once again, you can email me at healthylivingu9@gmail.com. That's healthylivingu9@gmail.com. And you'll be able to look at our products. If you're working out in the gym, we have supplements for that. If you're taking vitamins, we have supplements for that. If you wear makeup and you want an all-natural product, we have that. If you want soap that's all natural, we have that. If you're taking CBD cream, we have CBD cream. We have the CBD oils. We have everything that will help you to live longer and satisfied from the inside and out. You want your libido boosted? We can help you with that with our noni juice. It boosts your immune system, lower your sugar, lower your blood pressure, make you feel better, help you to sleep better. If you want to take sugar, you know, Greg, when you eat mashed potatoes, stuff that's good, macaroni and cheese, you eat all that bread, as soon as it hits your stomach, it turns to sugar. And that's what raises your sugar count. That's what raises your high blood pressure. and that's what causes people to gain weight. We have a product that you sprinkle over your food, and it takes the bad sugar out of the sugar content that turns into your stomach. It takes it out. So again, it helps you to live a healthy life. You don't want to miss the products that we have. And if, again, those of you who are entrepreneurs, we're trying to move, especially the Black and minority community, into thinking about entrepreneurship. We can help you with that. So again, reach out to us at healthylivingu9@gmail.com. Well, here we are once again with our show. We want to thank Greg for coming. Hey, Greg, guess what, man?
What's up, man?
Man, it's Juneteenth. That means it's the day that all niggas get to go out and do what they want to. They ain't gonna arrest no niggas today on Juneteenth. So we can go out and get our 40 acres and a mule today, boy. Cause ain't no nigga getting shot, hung, slapped.
That's right.
They ain't gonna stop you from doing nothing. So I'm telling you, this is the nigga holiday. I hate to say it, but
nigga holiday.
So if you want whatever, this is the day that if y'all wanted to lose, y'all can go out and lose, because they ain't arresting nobody, because they on TV talking about Oklahoma getting burnt down. They talking about Rosewood. They talking about all the stuff that they done to black people, and with all the killings and beatings and police brutality, they ain't doing nothing today. I'm telling you, so this is like Monopoly, one of those get out of jail free cards.
That's right.
So I'm not encouraging crime, but I'm saying if you are a criminal, Juneteenth, but we want to honor Juneteenth, but Juneteenth is probably the day, would not you agree? Juneteenth is probably the day that you ought to be out there doing whatever you want to do, because I'm telling you, they ain't arrested. Yeah, they ain't arrested. No, right now, if you Hispanic, it's probably a good thing. It's probably a good day for you to say you black. Anybody who look black, this is the day you want to be black. But yeah, I want to thank Greg for coming on with us. Tim said he'd be here at some point in time. Maybe he'll join us. We're on here talking about a holiday, and we wanted Greg to kind of go over Juneteenth and what it means, not only to black people, but to our country, and how we should look at it and respect it and think about Juneteenth. So without any further ado, we're going to have Greg talk to us about Juneteenth. Go ahead, Greg.
Friend, cousin, I want to thank you for bringing me on, man. Once again, I definitely appreciate always coming on, man, and talking with you about very sensitive topics that need to be talked about. And so I appreciate you bringing me on, man.
Yes.
I want to start with a quote by Ralph Ellison, dealing with the whole idealism of the emancipation in Juneteenth. And it states, in quote, words of emancipation, rather, didn't arrive until the middle of June, so they called it Juneteenth. So that was it. The night of Juneteenth celebration, his mind went on. The celebration of a gaudy illusion by Ralph Ellison. Mm-hmm. And that right there alone gives a good substratum of really what this moment really was for black people, African Americans in America. Because we're talking about a time in which we were free, but it took almost 2 years after the fact for people to get out of the Stockholm syndrome and release from master, because we had been so indoctrinated to believe that no one else could take care of us, just like an animal. You know, when you if you train an animal, train a dog to be submissive to you, then all of a sudden you tell the dog, "Oh, you're free to go." You let the dog go outside. What is the dog gonna do? Probability is the dog is gonna come back to the house that they're getting bred from, because they got to figure out, well, if I get put out, where am I gonna go get bread? So that's how we were positioned and conditioned as African Americans in America during slavery. It's like, if you put me out and tell me to go, where am I gonna go get bread? Because I'm accustomed for for the white man, the master, to feed me, feed my family.
Hand them out. Hand them out.
Hand them out. Hand
And
them
you know,
out. So,
as you're sitting there talking about the reliance upon the white man and just reliance in general, it is easy in the nature of people to rely upon someone else to give them a little instead of them doing the work to go out and get as much as they want. And I say that because, you know, one of the challenges I have in my business, one of the challenges that I have in my business in growing my business is that I deal with a lot of negativity from individuals who look at the glass half empty instead of half full. And so what I found is that, you know, I get a lot of objections of why they can't do this. One of the number one things people say is that I'm not a good salesperson. But I flip it back to them and I say to them, how can you say you're not a good salesperson and you have a job? Because when you went to an interview, what did you do? You had to sell yourself. You were the product. If you're in a relationship, what did you have to do? You had to sell yourself to that person to believe that you, out of over 350 million people, you're the one worthy enough to spend time with that person. And so, you know, our first proclivity is always to look at something from a negative perspective. And as it relates to, as you're talking about the Juneteenth and the concept of after slavery, the black man is now released, and now he's no longer, even though he was under the burden of his master, now he's in a position where he has to go out and get his own food and provide for his home. And it's kind of like the old story in the Bible when Egypt came out of, or when Israel came out of Egypt. You know, they had been in slavery for over 400 years, and they said to Moses, you should have left us back in Egypt where the melons and the leeks were. They were content with being in slavery because they were getting fed, but they wanted to be delivered. But then when they got delivered, there was a reality that hit them that now they don't have the food of Pharaoh. They don't have the comfort of at least having a place to stay. They're going somewhere. And so I get a lot of people that I talk to about my business, and, you know, I say you get objections as to why people can't get into it. They don't want to buy the product. And you know, it's because of things they've heard other people say. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, you'll go out and spend, me and you've talked about this, we'll go out as a family of 4 or 5 people, and we'll go to Golden Crown and spend upwards of $100. And we're eating all this food that most of the food we're eating doesn't give our body any benefit. But we have no problem doing that. Women have no problem spending hundreds of dollars getting their hair and nails done every week. We have no problem going to the movie and the show, spending all this money that we don't have, but yet and still we buck at spending $50 or $60 on a product that potentially has the potential to help our bodies.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that to me speaks to the volumes of us being free, man, in the mind.
Yeah.
Not just in the body. Because if we're free in the mind, then we're free to understand that we have the power, we have the liberty to be successful independently from a corporation or a job that we work for. But I think that systematically in today's society, we have been so accustomed to work for someone else because it goes back to the slave systematic lifestyle. You know, you think about corporations, most corporations are ran by a white Caucasian base. So the chances of you really getting into a position where you're going to really be able to be successful and have lucrative income in a 9-to-5 is like 1 to 2, you know, like 10 to 1, you know.
Yeah, and as you're talking, you know, I go back to Killer Mike. Killer Mike has been advertising the One United Bank, the largest black-owned bank business, and he's been trying to get black people to move their money from banks like Chase, who have ripped black people off since they've been started. I mean, if you look at the history of Chase, how racist they've been against black people, the things that they supported to oppress black people, and yet we keep our money there because we're skeptical of each other, and yet we say we want to be liberated, we want to be free, we want to have our own, but when our own does something, we come at them. It's crazy because we'll look at the oppressor And my grandfather used to say to me, don't take your car to get fixed to a black mechanic because they'll get over on you. But yet and still, he was comfortable taking his car to the white man. And I'm not saying every white man is going to do you wrong. This is not what this is about. But I'm saying he was comfortable trusting that a white man was going to charge him right and that the white man was going to fix the car right. Now, he came up in the era where, again, because he's my grandfather, he's gone on to be with the Lord now, but he came up, 30s and 40s, probably earlier than that. But so he lived through colored people having to sit at a different counter or going to the back of a restaurant to be served, or going to the movie and having to sit in a separate place. And when they had concerts in the South, black and whites couldn't sit together. So he went through Jim Crow and all that. And so automatically the assumption, it used to be saying white was right and black is wrong. You didn't have black dolls to give to your children for their birthdays or Christmas because, you had Ken and Barbie. We wanted to assimilate. And even to the point now where we're the only group of people that try to look like cosmetically like someone else. You never see an Oriental or white person going out and buying an afro or kinky hair. But our women, and I'm not telling you women that you're wrong, but our women, they'll put all this weave in their hair because they want straight hair. They're running away. They're all this pro-black, but they're running away from their own culture and what we really look like.
Absolutely, man. And I think that we really need to understand our value, man, our worth, our originality as Black people. We have something, man, that's so peculiar to the world, and that's why they've been trying to destroy us, man, for centuries, for decades, because they realize how the power, man, the intelligence. Think about the things that have been taken from us and stripped from our homeland, brought to America, and tagline with a white man's name on it. When originally the creation was generated from a black man. Yeah. Look at the things that we see, the infrastructure of things we see today in America were built on the backs and the minds of Black people in America. America could not have been what it is today had it not been for the intelligence of Black people. So when we look at that, then we have to understand that we have such.
I think you cut out there at the end.
I'm back.
You back. Did you see the post on Facebook with the white pastor, I believe it was in Atlanta, and he was saying that white people, I'm trying to get it right, he was talking about white privilege. And he said it shouldn't be called white privilege, it should be called white blessing. He said slavery was a blessing.
Yes,
because
I've seen that.
What white people had, they benefited off of slavery. And he said, we don't want to hear you telling us we have privilege. We were blessed because of slavery. And he tried to make slavery something positive. And he was being interviewed by a black rapper and some other pastor. They were on there. And I couldn't believe the black rapper was letting him get away with saying that, white people benefited and it was a blessing from God that slavery happened because white people are afforded the ability to take advantage of all the things that slavery built. He talked about the infrastructure, the economy. He said without slavery, he said America wouldn't be what it was. He said slavery built America. And if you know that, if you know slavery built America and you're a Christian, how can you support an ideology that continues to oppress a people and doesn't give them access, doesn't go back? You see, part of forgiveness is this, with people, it's more than just saying, you know what, Greg, I'm sorry for doing what I did. When you ask for forgiveness, you have to restore the person back to the original state that they should have been in. And there people have been marching in front of Chase talking about reparations from Chase, and every time we talk about reparations, nobody wants to listen. They want to say, well, if we give Black people all this money, they gon' do whatever. But it doesn't matter because it's their money. You have how can we give it to people? Well, you just give it, just like you gave stimulus checks out to people. Right. It's our money. You owe us 40 acres and a mule. If we had our own 40 acres and our own mule, we could have tilled the ground. And if y'all had left us alone, you wouldn't have been able to burn down Oklahoma and all these other places. And so, when you look at Juneteenth and what it represents, and I'm so glad that it's getting more attention now because, in days gone by, it hadn't gotten attention, but a lot of companies now are making Juneteenth an actual holiday, and I know some people ain't gonna like that, but
Right.
it was a celebration of being let go free, but there was no plan afterwards to say, okay, now that we're free, what we gonna do?
Right, absolutely. And the sad part about it is when you get into the motions of like the prison pipeline system dating back to slavery, when they freed us, they couldn't keep us captive as slaves, but they criminalized us, and so that was the beginning stage during the Reconstruction era of the prison reform in America, to the agenda to continue to enslave us as African Americans in this country. And I have a friend that I'm friends with on Facebook. Her name is Nefertiti, and she's created a petition on change.org/end slavery to totally abolish the amendment of slavery, because the thing about it is that amendment is not totally abolished.
No, it's not.
Because it states in there, except a criminal punishment.
Right.
So they utilize that particular tagline. See, many people don't, unfortunately, in today's society, we're not as educated on these particular areas of the Constitution and amendments and things of that magnitude, that we don't know really what we're up against, what we're dealing with.
Right, because once you enter into the criminal justice system, you lose your rights as a citizen. You're owned by the state. They control your life. They control where you live. They control where you live. They obviously control what you make, because it's almost impossible for a person to get a job once they have a crime. I don't know if you saw the interview of the gentleman who just lost his life in Atlanta. He had been interviewed about a month or so ago, and he was talking about, wanting to do better. But he was talking about, when he goes to a job interview, and he gets down to the section on the application that asks, have you been, convicted of a crime? He said he stops there every time, and he already knows once he puts yes, he's not going to get the job. And so you commit a person to a lifetime. You say that you remove criminals from society, and then you say that they serve their time, but then when they come out, they don't get an opportunity. We have someone put in the chat pod said, okay, but in all fairness, there are people that actually do deserve it to be in prison. Who said that they didn't? No one ever said people don't deserve to be in prison. But when they get out of prison, if they do their time, then, and then you have to deal with the disproportionate. How can we represent 13% of the population of the world, the United States in particular, and yet make up over 80 to 90% of the population in prison? There's an issue with that. The same thing that I said the other day on my show, with all these recent hangings of Black people, the statistics show that it said in the statistics of mental health that only 5% of Black and Hispanic men commit suicide. So they're including two demographics. 5%, they say 69% of white middle-aged men commit suicide, okay? But they say only 5% of Hispanic male and Black male. So they're including two demographics. But now we have 6 people, 5 men, 1 female, who have supposedly hung themselves. Something's wrong with that equation, because my thing is this. In order to hang yourself, one or two things had to happen. Either you threw the rope over the tree and you had to pull yourself up while you were hanging, and that's almost impossible to do, because as you're pulling yourself up and that noose is getting tighter, you would pass out. And so then you would fall down. Or you had to climb up on a tree, and you had to know that that tree was going to hold your body. You had to develop and build a noose that was going to stay intact, and then jump off and let yourself hang. And anyone who knows anything about suicide, people who commit suicide do it in an intimate place, either at their home, in a garage, their bedroom. They do it somewhere where they can be found. they always have signals before they commit suicide. For instance, they go get connected back with people who they haven't seen in a while. Kind of like a friend of mine this past week, his wife attempted suicide. Before she attempted suicide, what she did was she posted a bunch of pictures on Facebook of her and her mother, which she's never done. Then she got in touch on the phone with people she hadn't spoke to in a while to tell them she loved them. She got in touch with people at her church that were close to them and just wanted them to know she loved them. She went out to dinner after church, and before she went over her mother's house to try to attempt suicide, she sent a text to her husband and all her children. She left a note for her mother, apologizing, explaining why she did it. This is the pattern of people who commit suicide. In all six of these cases, none of that happened. As a matter of fact, some of them even said that they had just talked to their relative and they were planning on meeting to go out to lunch. Everything was fine. They were not having any issues or problems, and they just all of a sudden committed suicide. And so when you think about, and then you talk about being hung from a tree, we know historically that that is something that is terrorizing to Black men and Black people in general. And so when we come out of this Juneteenth and we think about all of the racism, and we think about the Reconstruction era, and we think about even during Reconstruction, we started growing as a people economically. And then when they saw that, they began to change the laws and give more policing so that they can brutalize us and take us out of society.
Absolutely.
One person said lack of rehabilitation leads to increased rates of reoffending. I agree. Go ahead.
I agree with that. I agree. I challenge everyone, if you have not, to watch the documentary 13.
Yeah.
For those who don't understand why the prison system is structured the way that it is, that's a great documentary to outline why in most aspects, in particular of African Americans, slavery is almost aligned and really equal to what we see within the prison system. So I challenge you to please watch that and watch it objectively. Don't watch it with a narrow mind or narrow lens, but be objective when you watch it and understand the substratums of what has happened, what is happening, and what we can do as Black people to look at this and say, what solutions can we create so that we're not creating a residual revolving door of our Black men going in and out of prison. Because the truth of the matter is,
most people don't even know, Greg, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. Most people don't know that we still have some states that still allow free labor in prisons, where corporations are sending production into these prisons, and it's either free or they're paying prisoners 6 cents an hour.
Right.
And a lot of people don't even know that.
That's right. But you can't educate people or inform people of something that they're not willing to accept. So you have to be able to accept the reality. And trust me, when I first got aware to really what was going on, it really threw me off, because when we look at prison systems, we look at criminal things. I'm not saying that everybody deserves to be out as a criminal, because people do commit crimes unjustly. They do deserve to do their time. What I am saying is that for those who are non-violent offenders, who've done smaller crimes or no crimes at all, this is the population in most cases that outweighs the ones who have done a crime, and yet they're criminalized and put in positions where they're demoralized and dehumanized. And when we bring them back into society, they don't know, just like with our Juneteenth holiday, the idealism of being free is like, well, what do I do with myself? I'm free, but I still got this on my back. And society in general doesn't want to acknowledge that they're free and put them in a position to be separate from that environment. So they do things that ends up bringing them back into the point of being enabled to be in this position. And so I'm saying, as a community, we have to find some solutions. We have to get to the table and discuss matters in which we can help our people to cut this umbilical cord from people going through these revolving doors of the criminal justice system, and help them find a way to see their value and their worth in society, so that we're not seeing a plethora of our black people, black women and men in prison, but particularly black men in prison.
You're listening to Clapback, brought to you by Kingdom Keys and Healthy Living. Become a part of our weight loss challenge, our 30-day weight loss challenge. I just typed to the chat pod where you can get additional information sent to you. There will be prizes awarded for first, second, and third. If you email me at healthylivingu9@gmail.com, we'll get the information to you. The other thing that I always think about is people have selective hearing. And what I mean by that is that when most white people or people who are against what we're saying, when they listen to us, they only hear what they want to hear. So when we start talking about prison reform and people shouldn't be in jail, or
Absolutely.
we talk about police brutality, everyone thinks we're talking about every prisoner or every suspect. We're not people who want crime to be free.
Right,
We believe in police. We just believe in right policing. We don't believe that people
Absolutely.
should be, that black people who've done crime should go free. No, they need to be locked up because they're not being productive in society. But we do believe that when they're locked up, there should be a real rehabilitation, because if you put me in prison for 15 years for something I've done, and your only reason for putting me there is to punish me, but you don't give me education, you don't give me resources, when I get out of prison, you're telling me I'm still on probation, I got to get a job, but I can't get a job. I mean, there are people who've come out of prison, who've been in prison so long that they went in prison when we had dial tone telephones. They didn't even know about computers. They didn't know about cell phones.
Right.
They didn't think about the progression of the electronic world or the technological age that we're in now. And now you want these people
Absolutely.
to come out of prison, who went in prison and didn't have even a high school education. And now they're coming out to a more sophisticated environment. And you want them to go back into a poverty situation where they're either living with a loved one, a mother, a friend, and maybe that friend or mother doesn't have the resources to really help take care of them. They can barely read and write, and you're expecting them to get a job and be productive. At the end of the day, the reality of that situation is, or that scenario is that at some point in time, if I'm trying to do right and I filled out thousands of applications and I can't get a job, at some point in time, I'm going to go back to crime in order to just survive. I mean, I have a bachelor's degree and I'll be finished. I have a couple bachelor's degree and I'll be finished with my MBA in project management toward the end of this year. And it is difficult for me to get a job. I've applied to several positions that I'm qualified. Just was before we got on this phone call, was talking to a young lady, and these recruiters, they don't look at your stuff, because she just got through telling me, well, the reason I didn't call you, the position, you weren't a good match for the position. So I started pinpointing one by one on my resume, matched to the qualifications. And I said, I exceed in every last one of these qualifications. How are you saying that I'm not a good fit for the position? I've been in leadership for over 30 years. I've got the education. I've been in leadership in revenue cycle, claims, operations. I've been a project manager. I've owned my own business. I've done collections. I've done real estate, mortgages, all of that. But yet you're saying I'm not a good fit for the position. At that point in time, she quit conversating with me, because it was obvious that she didn't even take a look at the resume. Because for her to say that I wasn't a match for the position, and salary-wise, everything, I was exceeding in just about everything. Okay, I see what you're saying. Fair point. So we have to understand that there is a big issue. And like I say, I'm so glad that we're starting to, and 45 got on there talking about that he's the reason that Juneteenth is known by people.
The ignorance.
He's crazy, man. And then
Crazy,
for Uncle Ben Carson and these other people to support this man, I don't see, and let me say this to you. You know me and you, I'm a former pastor. I'm a Christian. I don't believe in the gay lifestyle, okay? And I've said this on my previous broadcast. But just because I don't believe in the gay lifestyle, I don't agree that we should not give gay people rights. And in 2020,
Right.
we actually just had the Supreme Court rule on a case because in the 1964 Civil Rights Bill, it was talking about you cannot discriminate on the basis of sex. And so you had a group of people who said that that word sex was only referring to whether you're male or female. And it didn't refer to whether or not you were gay or transgender, which was saying there was a group of people who wanted to use that law to be able to terminate someone if they were gay or transgender. And to me, that is so asinine. You don't have to do what someone else does to respect someone.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I hold to the same sentiments as you in terms of values and beliefs on that. But I also believe that every human being should have a right to have liberties and freedoms to use laws like what the Supreme Court justice just ruled in their favor for the LGBTQ. I can't pronounce it totally correctly, but
because I got gay friends.
Right. Me too,
Go
man.
ahead and talk.
And I respect them, and they respect me. I know their position, they know mine, but that doesn't mean I look at them and say.
You remember, I put a post on Facebook. I did a scenario. I said, I mainly want Christians and preachers to answer this because I wanted to see. I said, let's say you had a best friend that you've been best friends with a person for 25 years. Y'all go out to Applebee's 2 or 3 times a week and have fun and eat your wings and everything. And I said, on one particular instance, you go out to Applebee's and he says to you, I'm gay and I've been gay. I said, at that point in time, I said, next week, are you going to go out to Applebee's with him? A whole lot of Christians got on there talking about, no, I'm not going out to Applebee's with him because he's gay. I said, wait a minute. That was your best friend. You just didn't know he was gay. He told you he had been gay all of his life, but he didn't tell you he was gay. And I said, you mean to tell me now that you know he's gay, you can't sit across the table from eating wings with him? I said, the problem is, it's not that he's gay. You're just worried about what other people are going to think about you if you're sitting across the table from somebody gay. I said, that's your problem. It's not his problem.
Absolutely. And that's something that we as a society, in particular within the Black community, we have to disfranchise our mindset from, because just because a person has a certain particular belief about their life doesn't mean that you value them and you treat them any different than you would someone that is not like that, because everyone deserves to have some equality in this life where there's unity involved. You know, your particular beliefs of what you do within your own life is personal. That's subjective. I don't have anything to do with that. You know, but I do believe that holistically, people should have freedoms and rights that are equal to the general masses, the general population of those who do have those rights. Because if we're going to progress.
Someone just typed in there, said, I know someone who was a huge fan of a singer, always listened to them. Once they found out they were gay, they threw away all their music. They're idiots, you know? And even as you're talking about Greg and the Juneteenth and all this, I have an issue with Black people who have a problem with white people calling them nigger when we call each other nigger all day long. If it's wrong, it's wrong.
Right.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine just last week, and he's a pastor, and this particular pastor has white people in his church. And he was talking to me about one of the white guys in his church, and he said, that cracker. I said, hold up. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, would you call him a cracker to his face? He said, absolutely not. I said, so why do you feel comfortable saying cracker in front of me just because I'm Black? I said, but yet and still, if you found out that white guy and one of his friends were on the phone and they said nigger, you would have a problem with it. You see, right is right, wrong is wrong. Well, we say to each other, well, it's a term of endearment for us. I said, wait a minute now. You mean to tell me we take the slave master's negative comment about us and we take it and turn it into something else and that makes it right? Something's wrong with that philosophy.
Something's wrong with that philosophy, man. And I'm with you. I don't condone people using the N-word around me. I don't like to hear it. I don't say it. in derogatory manners. I don't like hearing it, in the music that's being played today. I don't like even people saying it freely, man, just to say it. And that's something that we as Black people have to really understand and value, respect each other on this principle. Because, I've heard people say, well, we can say it because it's for us, but they can't say it. Well, what are you saying?
Stupid. That's stupid. That's just like I got on here talking about the other day. I said, wait a minute now. Y'all around here talking about Black Lives Matter, and they do. But what happened, you heard the story in Indianapolis about that young Black police officer, the female, beautiful lady, got shot and killed. Did nobody march for her? So you're telling me Black lives only matter if they're not in a blue police officer suit? Right. Something's wrong with that. If Black lives matter, they have to matter no matter what Black life it is. Absolutely. And that's where I say, man, the unity for us has to be universal in that aspect. If we're going to ever progress as a community, we have to be able to see all cylinders and bring all cylinders to the table, because believe it or not, there's a defect in every particular area that we look at that we think doesn't deserve to be at the table. And so we can't labelize and sanction out people because of a certain class or a certain position that they hold in their life. That doesn't take away their Black life, because their Black life still matters. If they didn't have the uniform on and you didn't know that they had a uniform, you would value that person's life up until the fact that you realize, oh, well, they were an officer. Oh, we don't value them because they kill us anyhow. Well, hold on. You were speaking justice before you found out the person had a uniform. Exactly. You were speaking justice before you found out they were transgender or they were, homosexual, whatever, lesbian. So we have to stop taglining things and saying and sanctioning off people because of what we know of their personal endeavors, and look at the holistic point of every life matters. If Black lives matter, if you're on the line, I see Tim came in. Come on the line, Tim. Yeah, go ahead, Greg. If Black lives matter, it has to matter to everyone, because believe it or not, if we don't see it that way, then the whole notion, the whole movement of this is null and void. Yeah, because it delegitimizes the thought of Black Lives Matter. Absolutely. If Black Lives Matter, yes, we have to deal with the racism, but we also have to deal with the Black lives that we are destroying in our communities, the Black lives that we're destroying in our own homes, because at some point in time, there has to be a level of accountability, because what Juneteenth represents, it represents the total freeing of the Black people, not just freeing from the bondage of slavery, but for being free to be able to think and to be better and to be productive. At some point in time, I agree with white people. At some point in time, we're going to have to quit making excuses for the things that we do. We're going to have to make excuses. Now, someone put in there, all lives matter, and I understand all lives matter. But the issue with Black Lives Matter is that white lives and other lives have always mattered. We're bringing attention that Black lives matter too, because down through the years, Black lives have not mattered. So when people say all lives matter, they're not really getting the understanding. When we say Black lives matter, we're not discounting anyone else. We're bringing to the forefront that if everyone agrees all lives matter, then why have not Black lives mattered for over 400 years? Why have Black lives been diminished? So.
Well, my take on it is this. It's simple. It's real simple. If you didn't got free labor from people for 400 years, and these people have fought in all the wars before all the immigrants and all the other people came over. Remember, we didn't fought in all the United States wars. Why would y'all, if you came up and said Black Lives Matter, why would you be having a problem with that? Because y'all reaping off, everybody comes and you get the benefits of what the people of color have done. We the one to make all these railroads. We the one to make America what it is with the free
That's
service. Y'all reaping off our benefits. That's just like you coming over to my mansion and you eating free and you driving around my Bentley and all that. you got to show some type of gratitude. See what happened. You have a lot of self-centered people. Y'all don't have gratitude, and y'all want to look down. You cannot look down on people of color.
Right.
And I can tell you this: we was never in slavery. The Wellingtons, we was already here. The Cherokee Indians, we was already here. So we didn't get brought from Africa. We was already here in the United States. So some people was not brought from up. They was already here. So what they did, they took some slaves. They took some Indians.
That's right.
And took them over there and then.
Yeah, your signal was going out a little bit there, Tim.
Yeah, we talking
Yeah, your
about.
signal was
See,
going
we
out.
gotta stick to the subject. What people like to do is you gotta stick to the subject. The subject is about black people. We're talking about no other. Yeah, if you got an A and E, stick to the subject.
You may need to move to a different location because your signal's going in and out.
Can you hear me
your
better
signal's
now?
going in and out. A little bit,
Can
but
you
your signal
hear me
was
better
going
now?
out. Yeah.
You hear me better now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah. Can you hear us? We can hear you.
See, we gotta stick to the subject and know what lives matter. This is where their mindset is at, because you're off the subject. You got to appreciate what we have done for the United States. You have to appreciate it that y'all benefit the benefits of us getting killed and murdered for 400 years, being in slavery, building these roads, doing all, and then getting paid for it. So the reason why people protesting all over the country is because of us, because of mistreating we've been through, not the mistreating. See, when you kill
Yeah, I'm not sure where you at, Tim, but your phone going in and out. You may want to hang up and call back in because your phone going in and out real bad. But yeah, we did want to read that comment. It says, all lives matter, absolutely, but all lives don't matter unless Black lives matter. That's a true statement. So yeah, you may either want to move to a different location or call back in because you keep going into what we call the matrix.
Okay, what is it doing now?
Now you're good. Now you're clear. Wherever you are now, you're clear.
Yeah, well, see, we do care about our own black people. You have white on white crimes happen all the time. If you live in a black neighborhood and someone do something wrong to you, sometimes that happens. It's called retribution. If someone's breaking in your house, you might shoot them. If someone kills somebody in your family, you might kill back. So a lot of stuff is going on retribution. You forgot there's a lot of people involved in illegal activity, and that brings along that. So white people been killing people too. So what about that? See,
absolutely.
Y'all gotta quit magnifying other stuff when the statistics already say that white people kill more white people than black people. Okay, so
the statistics on that though, the reason white people kill more white people is because of they are the greater population, but we have a greater percentage within. We're 13% of the population, and the percent, and it has to do too with. You have black people living, because you're going to commit crimes against people that you live around. So black people live around black people. But the percentage of the killings that we do are disproportionate to the population of white people killing white people. Of course, they're going to kill more because their population is greater, but we have a higher percentage. And we have to, the main focus is the racism against black people, but the subculture of that is the stuff that black people do to black people. And we've got, if we fix the racist problem, because what happens in racism is that you keep a people from being able to enter into an economic system because they're poor, they don't have health care, they don't have education, their families are broken up. So if you fix racism, then what's going to happen is those communities are going to be built up because you have businesses in that community. I put a proposal that what some of these major corporations should do is that they should take a part of their operations and they should take some of these empty buildings in the inner city and put call centers or part of their operations in the inner city so that people can get to work, and people can, if you did that, then you're going to have a tax base because those businesses are going to pay taxes. Well, in black neighborhoods, you don't have a tax base because there's no businesses there, no big corporations there. So therefore, the school board is underfunded, healthcare is underfunded, and you have all of the schools there. They have old books, they don't have computers, they don't have air conditioning. So if some of these corporations want to fix the problem, take part of your operations and move it to an inner city. and get one of those. The
Absolutely.
city will give you one of those buildings that are empty for free, and you make sure that you hire 80% of the people in that neighborhood come from that neighborhood, so that they can get good jobs, they can build their community, and you have a tax base.
Right. Absolutely, man. You speaking on a lot of great points on that, and that's the reason why I say that when we look at the substratums of I just want to go back into the portions of the whole idea that all lives matter incentive. The all lives matter incentive is not in the same comparison as the Black Lives Matter incentive regarding value of life. We're talking about value of life, and what we're saying is that if America, especially the white base of America, is beginning to acknowledge, even though they should have acknowledged this a long time ago, but they're now having to acknowledge that, okay, there is a systematic problem. Why is it that, and this is what I don't understand, you have a lot of the main corporations are now speaking out saying, you know what, there is a problem with racism in regards to Black people in America. And it's been going on. It didn't just start with George Floyd. It's been starting from the inception of 1619 in Jamestown, Virginia, when they brought us on slave ships here in America. Mm-hmm. It's been a problem going all throughout history. We have been magnified in scenes of police brutality and racial bigotry from white America. And they're now saying, once the man gets choked down for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, calling for his mother, saying, I can't breathe, somebody help me. And when the man was asked to get off his knee, he looked and repositioned his knee and looked down at the man in the face. That symbolism right there is what we've had to face for 400 years.
So let me ask you then, how much of this, with all these companies and people now coming out saying that it's wrong and they're changing, some of them are making Juneteenth holidays, they're donating money to causes. How much of this is actually they feel that, or is just politically correctness and also is detrimental to their business not to jump on the bandwagon? Because when you look at Roger Goodell and the NFL, how they dog Colin Kaepernick, and now all of a sudden when he comes back to apologize, he first apologizes in general, but then when social media says, well, if you're apologetic, you should be saying give Colin Kaepernick a job, then he comes back and he says, I want someone to hire Colin Kaepernick, and then now he's saying, I want to work with Colin Kaepernick to deal with this issue. So why does it take all of these things for you to realize something that you should have already realized? And are you really doing this because you believe it, or are you doing it because it is an economic disaster for you not to, and it's also no longer politically correct for you to be a racist?
Right. Absolutely, man. And this is why I say I'm glad that I feel that as a Black culture, the guard is changing. Someone asked me what I think about the statues, the Confederate statues being torn down in our country. And I said, to me, this is a symbolism that the strongholds in this country are being broken when it comes to racial bigotry that have happened. And what it's doing is it's uprooting that racial spirit that's in people, that's been embedded for so long. They've been hiding it, they've been disguising it. But see, when things like this are being exposed and torn down, it's opening up and exposing this racism that's been in their hearts. This bitterness against people of color is coming out, but it's coming out to free us to show that there is a problem and to help systematically change the game for us, man. But now we have to look at what's happening, and now we have to come together unified and utilize this momentum to really progress, to really get back to the place that we were, man, as a people, especially economically.
Right. Economic. Tim. Go ahead. Go ahead with T.
I like what T.I. is instituting, man. This blackout day on July the 7th, where he's challenging all Black people not spend $1 for one day. Don't spend nothing. Just save your dollar. You know, yeah, I'm sure if you gotta eat and all that, go buy your food July 6th. Go buy groceries, fill up gas, whatever you gotta do. But July 7th, don't spend nothing. And man,
I want to bring Tim in on this because you just segued into something that I want to ask Tim about, because Tim has been an entrepreneur all his life. Tim, what are we going to do to get Black people to get out of this mindset of being a worker and moving from being a worker to being an entrepreneur and creating wealth? Because a lot of times we as Black people, we want nice homes, we want nice cars, we want vacations and clothes, but we're afraid to step out and be entrepreneurs, and we're afraid to step out and do things on our own. So Tim, address that issue.
Okay, well, I'm 6th generation entrepreneur. Number one, you can't leave your job to your children. Number two, your job is not pandemic proof. If they furlough you, they lay you off, you finish. What are you gonna do? It's your job as a man to take care of your family. So my grandfather, which had an 8th grade education, owned 2 laundromats, a car wash, landscape business, used to own a gas station, built his second house and paid cash for it and all that. With 8th grade education, had 3 dump truck backhoe, over 40 lawnmowers. He used to cut BMG and all that stuff with 8th grade education. Why the heck did he do that? Because of entrepreneurship. See, you got to be able to leave. You got to leave money for your second and third generation. Your job is not going to do that. So this is what my grandfather told me. He said, you work your job and then you have your business on the side. And then when your business gets so big, you decide if you want to stay on your job or you quit your job. But know this. You do not quit working your business and you work for somebody else. He said, because they tell you when to wake up, they tell you when to go to bed, they tell you when you can go off and all that. And at the end of the day, you got to be in control of your own destiny. And then he said, you got to have residual income. My grandfather told me you got to have residual income. See, landscape is pandemic proof and it's residual. My son, 15 years old right now. I started his own landscaping business. He's cutting grass right now, bringing money, making money. So he has a trade. You got to get a trade, because even though you might have a college degree, what if you can't find a job? What if you get laid off? So that's what you got to be about. You got to create genuine generational wealth, and you got to get involved into real estate too, because see, real estate is something that you can pass down to your children. I own 14 houses.
That's right.
So if I never go outside my house, I'm gonna make money. That's where you got to be.
That's
at.
it.
And then plus, if you have money, you have power. So if I got money, if my son go to jail or something go wrong or whatever happens, if somebody make a mistake, I can put up my real estate and get them a lawyer and get them out. So, but if you got a job, that's why I can go on my Facebook page and Instagram and say what I want to say. You know why? Because I'm free. Nobody can't fire me. Nobody can't lay me off. Nobody can affect my income. I make my own income. So that's where you got to be. So the question is,
that's right.
Can you speak your constitutional rights on Instagram or your Facebook? And you do it? And if the answer is no, why? Because you scared you're gonna get fired. See, I'm not afraid because I can't be fired. And that's where you gotta be at as a man. Because your wife and your children are looking for you to provide for them, not the next man. You cannot.
You're so right, Tim, because
you cannot put your destiny in somebody else's hand. You can't put your destiny, especially when you're dealing with racism. You're dealing with racism.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you why you're exactly right about what you're saying about not being able to speak your constitutional right. And there was a white principal in Vermont, and what she said on her post on Twitter, she said, "Why do I have to feel forced to agree or to promote Black Lives Matter? Why do I have to feel forced to say something about Black Lives Matter, even though I believe in it? Why do my friends and everyone else try to make me feel bad about if I don't want to go march or this and that," which that's her right to do. Well, when her job saw that, the school saw that, they said that, it gave them a bad image and they fired her. They put her on administrative leave first and then they fired her. You see, in America, you have a right to be for something or not be for something. You have a right to speak up for something. You have a right not to speak up for something. It works both ways. And like Tim is saying, when you own your own real estate, when you have a business or several income streams coming in, you don't have somebody telling you when you got to work. You don't have anybody telling you when your day's off, when you go to vacation, how much you make. And then when they get tired of you, they fire you. When you own your own businesses, like Tim does, and you're progressive in your thinking, you control your destiny. But we allow fear of failure. We allow the past. It's always allowing these people around us that's broke. They broke, so they want to make sure you stay broke. So they'll discourage you, tell you don't get into it. And that's why I tell everybody, those of you who are listening, please email me at healthylivingu9@gmail.com. We got that 30-day weight loss challenge coming on. We got other products, the noni juice. We've got several products. If you're working out, we got products to help you work out. If you're dieting, we got products to help you diet. If you put makeup on your face and you want natural makeup, we have that. If you want natural soaps and lotions and all that, we got that. If you want a power drink, I mean, anything you can think of, and it's high quality, very affordable, and it's going to do something to help your life. And then beyond that, if you want to build a business, you can build a business that's going to make you some good money, business that you can transfer to your children, that you can build generational wealth. The only thing that's holding you back is your fear. You'd rather go to work and complain every day about you don't like your boss, you don't like your job, you don't like the atmosphere there. You want to complain. And here's an alternative to that allows you the ability to generate wealth for you and your family, but yet you'd rather just sit back and complain.
Absolutely, man. That's so true. So true. So true, man.
And Tim is a man who's made millions before he got into these businesses. So you're not talking to somebody who's thinking about this in theory. You're talking to a man that has made millions. Okay? He's made millions.
Right.
He knows how to run a business.
That's right.
You know,
That's right, man.
We run Shaka Khan Little Richie on the beach in '96 from Versace House. Only 2 people have been on the beach for a concert. That's Paparazzi and us. So at the end of the day, you got to be controlling your own future. Because guess what? Nobody is. Nobody else is going to control your future. You got to do it. And what are you going to leave for your children's children? What are you going to leave?
Right.
What are you going to leave?
Right.
You got to be sick or tired of somebody telling you, well, I got to go to bed by 11 o'clock. See, I just left from Michigan. I was up there for 2 or 3 days, and I'm back here. So I can go where I want to go because I'm not tied down. You got to, your freedom. See, if you want to be broke and unhealthy, that's too oxymoron. Being broke and unhealthy, number one, is contrary to the Bible, because the Bible says, beloved, I wish for all things for you prosper, be in good health, even your soul prosper. So you're prospering in church, but your soul is prospering, but you're broken and unhealthy. That doesn't go together at all. I refuse to want to be broken because that doesn't work. And then plus, you're not going to be able to enjoy your money when you retire. When you retire, how you going to enjoy your money? You got sugar diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol. You got to get stents and all that. So you can work all these years, and now you're 60 and 70, and your health is bad. So now you can't even do anything. So you put a price tag on your health, and now you're done. You can't even enjoy when you retire. I'm 50 years old.
And it's always once we get sick, we wish we had done something to prevent the sickness. You see, we want to wait until the last minute because, again, but we always want to wait because we'll let somebody who's broke and struggling tell us not to do something. We allow fear to grip us. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. You see, if you get out here and put your time into this business and you treat it like a business, you respect it like a business, you work hard like it's a business because it is a business. If you do that, you'll get the results. There's no diet pill you can take that you're going to take today and lose 50 pounds tomorrow. Whoever's telling you that is a lie. There's no business you're going to start today and tomorrow you're going to be a millionaire. Every person that has success, whether it's Steve Jobs, whether it's Mark Zuckerberg or whoever, they had failures. Failures are stepping stones to your destiny. Just because you failed before doesn't mean you're going to fail at this. You have support. You have all type of help and aids that help you to build your business. You have people who've done it before to show you how, a blueprint to do it, and you can become independently wealthy. I'm not talking about rich. There's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Rich people don't leave nothing to their generations. They may leave something to their son, maybe their son's son, but generational wealth is the same is what Rockefellers have. Generational wealth is what Jay-Z has. Jay-Z's money and Dr. Dre money. Dr. Dre just sold Beats for $3 billion to Apple. That's generational wealth, y'all. So we've got to get out of this fear. We can't just let Juneteenth be a buzzword. we've got to say Juneteenth celebrates us being made free. But in that freedom, it's a total freedom. It's a freedom from the bondage of slavery, but it's also a freedom from the mind of slavery. I can do all things through Christ. Whatever God has put in, all of us have a talent and a gift. That's my dog back there barking. I'm going to get him as soon as I get off this program. But we have, all of us have talents and gifts that we can utilize. Quit saying, be quiet. Quit saying you can't sell, because you got that job, you had to sell yourself. You beat somebody out because you weren't the only person that was interviewing for that job. You had to beat somebody out by interviewing and selling yourself. If you're in a relationship, you had to sell yourself to make that person believe that you were the one person that they needed to be with out of over 350 million people. Guys, I thank y'all for coming on. I've got to go. It's been a good discussion. We'll be back on later on tonight. You can join us if you choose to. But again, if you want more information on how you can become a part of this great organization of healthy living, email me at healthylivingu9@gmail.com. This is Clapback, your host, Kevy Kev, brought to you by Kingdom Keys and Healthy Living. Again, we have that 30-day weight loss challenge coming up. We also have business opportunities for those of you who are forward thinking. You have the internet, the World Wide Web. Your customers are everywhere. People building business are everywhere. Healthy living, stay healthy and stay safe. Build your immune system, boost it. We have products to help you out. Again, that's healthylivingu9@gmail.com. If you would like to help us in our endeavor in building Black America across this nation and America in general, please cash app us at $Pastor K50. That's Pastor K50. We will use the money to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, build our communities. 100% of your donations will go toward a program. None of it will go into my pocket. We're here to build a nation together. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. Remember, it's time to clap back.